Where's the video? There's the corner. There's the globe from China, right?
Yeah.
Globe in the corner.
Oh, Sir Peter.
Oh, and the little guy.
What's that Sam doing?
Yeah, well, Sam got a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I saw that last time.
Yeah. Anyway, so this awesome thing made in China comes with 2 arrows, one of which already broke just from normal use. And that's it. And you can't buy any more arrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get to buy a whole new unit.
You had to buy a whole new unit. Yeah. So then somebody on Amazon was like, well, I got these Nerf zombie strike arrows, right? But they're, you know, this is the arrow that came with this one. The zombie strike arrows are like this long and they have like fletching at the end. So you can't really like stick it in here. And they actually, the end part doesn't even fit through here. Like, anyway. Oh yeah, he's gonna show you what the Nerf zombie strike.
You can go down to the sports store and buy real arrows.
Yeah, I don't think that would be
with a braided, with a barbed point.
Grandpa,
They'll stick in the wall.
Can come in.
Ah, I see, Sam. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
There's 2.
Grandpa Dale said that we should go get real arrows that are sharp at the end. What do you think about that? What the? He said, what the? What the heck? Anyway.
Is Hannah around today?
So yeah, we just went down. No, you know, honestly, I didn't think she didn't ask anything, and I record it so they can watch it anytime they want.
Right.
But you know, it didn't seem like they were contributing much to the conversation.
No, they weren't. They were listening, but and they were bored. Particular Josie. My opinion, Josie gets bored with most anything that I do. If it's not Grandpa Jim, he's not interested. Grandpa Jim's his hero.
Gives him all the Legos he wants.
Yeah.
Maybe we should get Grandpa Jim, Josiah, to start asking for Legos for our kids.
Well, Linda got a new car, so Katrina got her, I guess it's an SUV.
Mm-hmm.
And they sold the old
Toyota King.
There's a Mazda that Jeff had. And then Katrina had when they got married, and Jeff drove it until someone ran into it. He continued to drive it. Well, they sold that, and they sold the Pacifica all in the same day.
Wow.
And they reduced their fleet.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam wanted to show something. Come here, Sam. Grandpa Dale was talking, so it was hard to listen. Can you come show it now? Yeah, but he didn't see it because he was busy telling a story. So he was thinking about the story. We couldn't, I think the moment may have passed. Yeah? Oh, sorry. Okay. Anyway, did you hear that? I wasn't showing it to him. He just was like, here, look, oh no, that was just for me to get in the way of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's Peter Jr. up to today?
Oh, same thing. We went down to the Arroyo where they have a little archery range, and we spent about 10 minutes shooting at the target. And then we saw a gopher, and that was kind of fun. We watched that for a while, and then we went for a walk, which was more like, I know what I was going to ask about. Okay, sorry. More like Peter going, well, are we done yet? Do we have to keep walking? Can't we just go back? I'm hot. I'm bored. I'm tired. And I was reminded actually of that. I was like, once upon a time, Grandpa Dale and Grandma Marianne took me and Uncle Jeff golfing. And I suspect that we spent almost that whole golfing afternoon doing the same thing. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
I do. I remember it.
It must have been early on in our marriage because I quit golfing about 40 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, it must have been because.
Well, I gave Jeff my golf clubs
What does
about a
he,
year before they were married.
does he use them to like for target practice or something? See if he can hit an animal?
I have no idea. I think if they haven't been bent from being in the trunk of the car,
Uh-huh.
they probably have deteriorated from old age.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't golf either. So.
Yeah. Who does golf anyway?
Well, a lot of people golf, but to me, it's you waste so much time doing nothing. And no matter what you do, you think, well, I can do better next time. And you have to have a better club, or you have better balls, or you have to have better something in order to improve your score. And it isn't that at all. It's your own personal skills. And
Yeah. You either have it or you don't. I've
never had it.
never liked it.
Don't hang with it long enough to improve my golf score.
So Katrina said that you are seeing some improvement with your wound.
I'm not sure what she heard. I was at the wound care clinic this morning. I finally had the wound care doctor take a look at it. He didn't have a whole lot to say. I had been using some ointment on it that was a very expensive stuff.
Yeah.
And they said, don't use that anymore because it hasn't improved. As a matter of fact, the wound has gotten bigger.
Oh, geez.
So there doesn't seem to be any answer except we have to keep it moist because that's your tendon sticking out there. And we have to keep your tendon dry, wet.
Uh-huh.
If it dries out and breaks, then you've lost control of your foot. So it's a lot of fun.
Yikes. Do you have anything for the pain?
There really isn't anything for the pain. I had Monday. I had called the infection or the wound care clinic, and said, "Can I just get somebody to look at this thing and assess whether it's good, bad, or indifferent?"
Mm-hmm.
Well, they let me in at noon, which is unreal. And the nurse was kind of snippy at first. And she said, and how come you came in today? And I said, because it hurt. It hurts. That's why I wanted to have someone take a look at it. Well, by the time we left, she was a lot more congenial. She claimed that the wound had actually closed a little bit. I didn't know what she was looking at, but didn't appear that way to me. She gave me some gel that's moisture, hydrogel,
Mm-hmm.
and I was using that along with this very expensive ointment.
Yeah.
And today they said, don't use the ointment anymore because it's not doing any good. Just keep it hydrated and bandaged. And they're going to take some, I guess, blood flow pressure tests next week to see what the circulation is down the leg.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I thought they'd performed something like that the first time I went to the wound care clinic.
Yeah.
And at night I take what's called a tramadol, which is old medicine I had around. That's supposed to be a little bit better than aspirin
Mm-hmm.
for pain, but that's about the extent of it. When it comes and goes, I can sit in a chair and it doesn't hurt. And I stand up and, or, you know, all of a sudden it'll start burning like someone just lit a fire around my ankle. So I did take the bandage from last night along to the meeting today because there's green stuff growing on this bandage.
Yeah.
And I said, should I be concerned about the green stuff? And they said, well, not really. You take your bandage off and you clean it down. And if it smells real bad, then maybe we need to be concerned. Okay. Well, the bandage smelled pretty bad, but it didn't. I couldn't smell it after I put a new bandage on it.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I don't know. There isn't any end point at this time that I can see, or anyone else can give me any belief that well, we'll have it cleared up in 2 weeks or 2 months or,
Yeah. But I mean, you can't have a hole in your body.
well, I know it's not a good idea.
No.
And I can't walk. I walk on that foot, but I keep stiff-legged
Yeah.
because I don't have the flexibility with
Right.
the Achilles area, because every time you go up on your toes, your
Yeah.
Achilles is tightening up. That
Right.
allows your foot to raise. So
Uh-huh.
I'm doing deadhead on the right foot every time I walk.
So is that, it's just also, it just hurts when that tendon
Yep,
get tightens and,
yep. Usually at night, I'm in the bed, and if I bend, I'll be sleeping with my knee bent,
Mhm,
and it's relatively comfortable. And I try to straighten my leg out,
mhm.
and it says, that tendon is tightened up
Mm,
while you've been sleeping with your knee bent,
yeah.
and that becomes a little sensitive also. So life goes on.
Yeah. Well, because Katrina just, texted because it was her birthday. So we sent her flowers and she was like, oh, I got flowers. Oh, and your dad says he had, the first good night of sleep he's had in so long. So things seem to be on the mend. I'm like, oh,
Well, I have been fortunate. The last few nights I've been able to sleep. So that's helped quite a bit.
that's good.
Uh,
Just to build a little resilience in your body too.
right.
Yeah.
But I've also lost another 5 pounds in the last week. I was 155 pounds this morning.
Jeez.
Well, this morning the emphasis was on protein intake.
Mhm.
I've actually forgotten the numbers, but I think my protein level was like 13 or 18, and it's supposed to be like 25 or 28, somewhere in there. So they sent me a list
Yeah.
of all the things I should be eating.
Hummus, nuts, dried
Okay.
beans,
Yeah,
peanut butter, Greek yogurt, protein bars, protein shakes. I mean, they make like really yummy protein smoothies and stuff.
yeah.
I
Well,
know ice cream is not on the list.
we didn't stop and get any today. We do have some Ensure Plus, which contains 13 grams of protein, but they were talking about trying to have about 80 grams of intake per day.
Mhm.
Wow, that's a lot of eating, and I haven't been up to eating that much.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a real battle.
Well, some of those protein bars are pretty high in protein too. So.
Yeah,
And
and we need to get some of those from the store.
well, and try a bunch of them because some are awful. They taste like chalky, and others are really yummy. So just try out to find what ones you like.
Yeah, I was telling Marianne that I guess it's the diuretic I'm taking, taurinamide, that has destroyed my interest in chocolate. Marianne has started buying drumsticks in the grocery store.
Yeah.
She offers them to me, and I said, if I eat one drumstick, I eat the chocolate the rest of the afternoon.
Huh.
Just,
Yeah. Weird.
yeah. And the same, we have some miniature Snicker bars, just little squares. And if I eat up 3 or 4 of those, it just doesn't sit that well. So
Yeah.
chocolate isn't my friend either
That's too bad.
anymore.
Yeah. Do you still like peanut butter?
Oh, I love peanut butter. And matter of fact, we bought some English muffins last Saturday. And I've had English muffins last 2 mornings for breakfast with peanut butter on.
Mm-hmm.
That's always good.
Yep.
I also have a cabinet full of almonds, and I just can't stomach them anymore.
Hmm.
They've been there since we moved here in November. And
I
they
think
probably
nuts are kind of hard to digest.
yeah, I should be throwing away.
Yeah.
And I have one package that has salt and all kinds of flavoring on them, smoked and salted. And
Just doesn't taste good.
no,
Yeah. Well, that's probably the chemo, right? And all the drugs.
Well, I don't know. I can't put my finger on which one it is.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Anyway, so everyone wants blood samples to track this or that. Monday, I go back into the cancer clinic for a complete blood palette workup
Yeah.
to determine how we're doing. And they didn't schedule my next appointment, but it'll probably be somewhere in the first week of August.
Yeah. So where do you think you got exposed to asbestos? I mean, that's what gives people mesothelioma, right? That's
Yeah,
not
right.
not
It
any other
is.
reason. Yeah.
And I have no idea. The only possibility was overseas in either Vietnam or Thailand.
Mhm.
Beyond that, I have no way of knowing. They've coughed up a fair amount of money. Of course, the attorneys are making 30%, so they're
Right.
very aggressive. I have about 3 firms that have already approved a claim, but
Mhm.
I haven't sent me checks.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of waiting for those. And then there's one that wants to go to court. Well, the court date is set up for 2021
Uh-huh.
in Illinois somewhere. And I don't know what's going to happen by
Yeah.
that.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, at least then, maybe you can afford your more of those $6,000 ointments for your foot.
Well, fortunately, the taxpayers are paying for that. That was for free.
Yeah.
But now that I have half a tube and not going to use it, I guess I could sell it on the
Sell
street.
sell it on Craigslist. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh yeah. So as you were talking to, I was remembering, like you had mentioned, I have little notes, but I've mostly been depending on the fact that this is recorded, because there's a lot of stuff that I'm not writing down or just forgetting or too slow. But you mentioned Ted Trainer and Bill Burns that you met at Fort Belvoir. But was Art Craigmile just a different group of people? Like he was a friend, but just from he's from like Boyd or something, or?
Yeah, he's a high school friend.
Okay. I didn't know he went to high school with you.
Yeah. And he was in the National Guard with us.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then of course he was in high school. He was going to stay around Boyd and farm. And then the lady that he married decided she was not interested in farming. So
Mhm.
she made an arrangement with one of the other farmers and ran off. Anyway, Art got off the farm and went down to the cities.
So this was not Andy and Julie's mom. He had a wife before that.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And let's try that. His first daughter, I'm trying to remember what her name is.
Julie.
No, I know Julie.
Oh, he had a daughter from before Julie.
Right.
Okay, I didn't know that either.
Tammy, that's what.
Okay.
So anyway, I haven't talked to him since he called me and
Mhm.
told me he had pancreatic cancer,
Oh,
and they were trying to decide where to go for treatment, either Rochester or University of Minnesota.
yeah.
In the meantime, this other friend, Al Tutland, has been at the University of Minnesota, but he's in a much different situation in that, first off, he's the guy that he had worked with, matter of fact, Al had sold the house to this guy when Al and Sharon moved to Florida. This guy owns the Hilton Hotel in Rochester, and he took his personal plane, went down and picked Al up in Florida, brought him back to Rochester, and put him up in the executive suite on
Uh-huh.
the top floor of the
Wow.
Hilton Hotel. So he's living kind of high in the hog and standby.
Yeah.
Yes. Speaking. Okay. What medical product? Yes. Okay. I understand. Oh, okay, okay, no problem. And that was handled through the Huntsville Hospital Home Care group. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Very good, appreciate it, thank you. Bye. The appointment this morning, they ordered up some medical supplies, another tube of this hydrogel and some gauze wrap. And this gal says that she has to have a release from my home health care, which should have occurred because we stopped them 2 weeks ago before she can fill the order. So it's nice that they're following up.
Mhm. Okay. Anyway, so you were saying your friend Al Tutman got flown into the University of Minnesota and put up in the executive suite for some sort of treatment.
Actually, Rochester.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And well, Al had been in Rochester for a number of years, served on the school board, and owned a printing company. And he sold the printing company to Taylor. Taylor owns the Minnesota Timberwolves,
Oh,
and yeah, and all the other printing operations in the Midwest.
Uh-huh.
But Al knows all these good guys that have a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so anyway, his fellow told him he could stay in the executive suite at the Hilton as long as he needed to be. So he's living a good life, a lot of friends coming by. They made a trip up to Minneapolis. He got to drive the car. So his spirit and his attitude is a lot different.
Yeah.
When Art called, he was depressed, didn't know exactly how he was going to proceed. And I'm not comfortable that he's going to make it. Of course, Al doesn't know if he's going to make it either, but they're going to do a scan after, I guess, his fourth chemo treatment on the 4th of August and determine whether they're showing signs of improvement.
Yeah. What is Art's wife's name?
Wilma.
Wilma, that's right. Okay. I remember she used to drink Tab,
Yes,
that soda, like a lot of it.
yes, and it showed.
It was awful stuff.
She finally decided that it wasn't good and lost a lot of that fat.
Well, the Tab was like calorie free. I mean, it was nothing. It was just weird chemicals and.
Yeah, I know, but that
No,
weird
maybe there was
chemical.
like sugar-free Tab or something. Maybe Tab was just regular soda. I don't know.
No, it was diet.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the bottom line was all that artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
There's no sugar, but it's artificial sweetener.
Yeah.
It's absolutely gross.
Yeah.
And bad for your health.
Yep. Okay. So let's see. Oh, and the trainers, Ted Trainer and Judy, and then their kids were like 10 years older than us, like or more. So more. I know that Terry would come over and babysit, I think.
Right. It was about 10 years, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. I have a memory of picking little roses. I think we had like in North Carolina, like roses that grew on the fence.
Yes.
And having a laundry basket and picking roses and putting them in the laundry basket and then trying to sell them.
Oh, really?
Neighborhood. Yeah. And I remember somebody, maybe like one of the kid trainer boys being mad because I don't remember why, but something like the roses didn't last, or I don't even know. I can't imagine they would have paid money for this. I don't know what it was, but anyway, I remember doing that. Oh, and I remember that there were girls across the street in North Carolina who maybe like across it just a little bit like up the road, who were a little older than me, I think.
Yes.
And would like punch me in the nose when I go play with them.
Oh, really?
In my memory, like this is my memory for 5 years old or whatever. Every time I would go play with them, they'd end up punching me in the nose, and I get a bloody nose, and I come home. That's my
I don't remember
memory.
you having bloody noses. I do remember you in Rapid City, South Dakota, when you were just wee old.
Oh yeah.
And you had pneumonia about 3 times one winter.
Oh geez,
Yeah.
that's scary.
Yes, it was.
It's scary when Sam had pneumonia.
And I kept trying to tell you bedtime stories about Flea, your horse fantasy horse.
His name was Flea.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, I didn't know what else, other name.
Oh, you gave it the name Flea.
Yeah.
Okay. A horse named Flea. That's funny. I remember falling down the stairs in Rapid City.
In a cardboard box.
I don't remember the cardboard box, but I also remember too. But now, I mean, it's like I have a memory of the memory more than having the real memory anymore.
Yeah.
But I remember also like running, and like the tumbleweed was like after me, like a big tumbleweed, and running, and then falling, and then the tumbleweed just like rolling by, you know.
Yeah.
But very
Yeah. We had them
scary.
in the backyard.
And a big old tumbleweed. Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah. And then there was a kid named Eddie who lived, like he was a little bit
Yeah.
older.
Eddie lived next door.
Yeah.
And he had two sisters. I took Eddie fishing because his dad was not a fisherman, but his dad had a outboard motor that we used. And so that was the trade-off. And he went with us to, with Greg Lacey. And we went fishing and he caught some fish.
The Lacey's with all their daughters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how do you know Greg Lacey from?
Well, Greg Lacey was assigned to Okinawa when I was there. And I don't know that I met him in Okinawa, but I knew the name and he was being assigned. And then when I was in Rapid City, he was assigned to Rapid City, to the ROTC department. And then when we came here to Huntsville, he also, I can't say he followed us, but he was assigned to the Army Missile Defense Command.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think, the oldest girl,
Joanne?
Joanne, is still,
Yeah.
no, Joanne is the middle.
Oh, okay.
The oldest girl is
Christy.
Christy, you're right. Astrophysicist, still single.
Oh, wow. But she has horses, right?
Yeah, well, she probably does now. She liked horses. Horses
Yeah.
were her thing. Joanne became a doctor, and she's got a passel of kids,
Mhm.
at least 3.
Oh.
And then the youngest one was married some Norwegian, and they live in Norway.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's a nice place to be right now. I think Norway is good with COVID. Anyway. Well, that's nice.
anyway, the youngest one was always a little free-spirited.
I can't remember her name, but I remember she was just little and blonde.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, so I have like, this is like bouncing around through time. So my notes were just like random, like what I just quick wrote down, but I remember going to Kitty Hawk, you taking me into
yep,
Kitty
yep.
Hawk,
Yep.
and me being really afraid of whales and whatever other ocean things.
Yeah, we were in North Carolina and we went down to the beach. And I don't know that we actually went to Kitty Hawk per se, but it was in the proximate area
Yeah.
where Kitty Hawk was. And we camped in the back of the pickup. I backed it up on the beach,
Mhm.
and we slept overnight. And then it rained the next day. And so all we could do is sit in the box.
Right.
Truck. Yeah, we had a canvas. I opened up the tailgate and and we put a canvas over that,
Mhm.
and it was relatively dry.
Mhm.
Water would kind of leak in around the edges,
Yeah.
but there was no one else there. I'm trying to think of the name of the town because it started with L, I think. But it was south of Norfolk, not Norfolk.
It's in North Carolina on the beach somewhere.
Yeah.
Also, I remember camping in the back of the pickup.
Yeah, well, the only time I know that we camped in the back of the pickup was there in North Carolina on the beach.
Well, I have a memory of being somewhere that was like, it wouldn't have been an ocean. It was like like in the woods or something with a little pond. I don't even know that that's real. And in my memory, that's associated with the pickup truck.
Oh. No, it doesn't ring a bell with me.
And also attached to that memory is like a campfire.
The only thing I can remember is we were camping with Pfluger, Randy,
Uh-huh.
and I was making eggs, and I was trying to get eggs and bacon and toast and all that coordinated, and so I was trying to get Jeff to eat his eggs, and he was not a happy camper. But that was somewhere in Minnesota, I believe.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, I don't know where that was. I just sort of had this feeling that we camped in the back of the truck a lot.
Yeah,
It only happened once.
that's best of my knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. And then also, you know, I have memories of Ranger for sure. But like, whatever happened to Smokey? Did he die, or did you give him to a farm or something?
No,
or-
I actually had to give him away.
Okay.
One of the fellows that was working with me knew some folks that were willing to take him. And it was out in a rural area. And about, I don't know, maybe 6 months to a year, I was out in that area, but Smokey didn't show any signs that he knew who I was. So
Oh.
I
Uh,
guess,
I bet dogs always remembered, you know, but maybe not.
well, I don't think, this guy's name was Kruger, but he had put Smokey in the back of his truck and hauled him out to this new place. And so the dog probably was not a happy camper.
Mhm.
And Smokey had also gone without water. And so he jumped into the swimming pool and couldn't get out and tore the lining all up. The neighbor came over and knocked on the door. This was on a Thanksgiving morning or that weekend, and told me that the dog was in the swimming pool.
Oh, geez.
Rescued him. So, you know, he had a rough life.
Uh-huh. Poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then I do remember too that we would go. You would take us up in the airplane.
Yeah, that was here at
Yeah.
at
Okay.
Huntsville. And I think you only went up maybe twice at the most.
Okay.
And the one time I know we went up and it was, the weather was moving in. So we had barely gotten out off the runway, and they called us back, and I was telling you to hang on because there was a strong crosswind that was coming in.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, it was no big deal with flying the plane. I didn't know if you were nervous or not.
I don't remember it. So I do remember that I think at one point you let, I know it's funny because I think were Jeff and I both there? Yes, or one at a time?
I think one at a time.
Okay. Well, I have this memory, you know, that like I was laying down or he was laying down and the other one was like in the one of us was flying the plane. Like you were there, but like one of us had our hands on the, you know, I mean, there's a lot more to flying the plane than just
Yeah.
the steering wheel, but that we got to hold the steering wheel or something.
I see Peter. I see the Peter.
Hi.
Anyway.
That's a social exchange for the day.
Do you want a stool or a chair, babe? Okay. Peter would love it if you'd buy him a BB gun,
Well,
but we don't want him to have one.
the other grandkids have two of them out there that you never use.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have one shipped out.
No, yeah, they have a much better place for BB gun shooting. We do not have that here.
Peter, what would you do with the BB gun?
I don't know.
Yeah, I know. You
You
wouldn't.
shoot dinner?
No.
You have to practice shooting at a target.
Oh, did you do that?
Did you hear that? Sam says he would probably do it. He's just going the other direction. We've been watching this show called Alone on, I think it's on Netflix. And it is 10 people get dropped off. Have you seen it?
Right.
Okay.
I haven't. I've just seen the promos on it.
Yeah, no, Peter, Papa Peter and I watched it and we're like, this is pretty cool. I don't know if the boys would like it though. And they're like, this is the coolest. Oh my gosh, like they're totally into it. It's pretty fun watching people survive and have
There's
to
only
call
one
it.
thing you got to keep in mind. All those photographs, all the pictures, the TV, somebody's there running it.
No, that's what's different about this one. They have like 65-pound box full of camera equipment
Oh, they take their own, huh?
and they have to do their own camera.
Oh,
You know?
okay.
Yeah, that's what makes it different. And these are people who are definitely like survival trained stuff. But even already, 2 people have tapped out for various reasons. Do you want to show that to Grandpa?
Grandpa, just see Laval's Laval's beast.
Laval's beast.
Wow.
Mouth can
Boy.
open and the legs can move.
Yeah, Sam built that this morning. It was one of a birthday thing, but it kind of just got forgotten.
I see.
Yeah, that's pretty vicious.
There's the
Glad I don't see him at night.
yeah. Pretty cool guy.
Yeah, did you build that yourself?
Yeah, you can see that. Yeah.
See.
He said, "Did you build it yourself?"
Mama, help me.
Good work.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Kitty Hawk camping in the back. It's so funny that I really thought that happened like all the time, and maybe it happened just once. Didn't we have to drive to get there? Maybe we camped on the way.
No, we drove down there. We may have gone 2 years in a row. I can't remember. But I also remember we went down to Carowinds
Mhm.
2 years in a row because that was the week or the weekend. It was the week before you were going to go back to Minnesota. And the one time we were standing out there and the water was dripping off our hands because it had been raining. And I also remember either you or Jeff were going to ride on my back down the water slide.
Uh-huh.
And I hit the bottom of the pool and I got a raspberry in my cheek about that big around.
Ouch.
Yeah, it smarted a little.
Carowinds was a water park?
Yeah, something, one of
Okay.
these big theme parks, like
Yeah,
a mini Disney World.
right. I have a faint memory of like, well, just water slides, how exciting that was.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I can't believe that they would have let you go down with him on your back.
well, yeah, well, they did.
Yeah.
Somebody did.
Oh, oops. Oh yeah, remember when Jeff jumped off the super high board at the
The Decatur Water Park.
Mallard? Yeah, whatever it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
Point Mallard, I think.
Yes,
Yeah, that was pretty exciting.
yes.
Oh yeah, so I think you were talking a little bit about Thailand last time. 1969. Yeah, this is my notes. 1969 hooch, and then I have the word Thailand written down.
Well, I was actually assigned in '68. We arrived there about January of '68 and then left in May or June of '69.
So you were married when you showed up in
Yeah.
Thailand, right? You guys got married in Rapid City.
No, we got married in Fort Belvoir, Virginia,
Oh,
in
okay.
'67.
Did you guys meet in Fort Belvoir?
Yeah,
Oh,
they moved into the apartment complex where I and Jim Welsh lived.
okay. Fort Belvoir, Virginia.
Well, it was outside. It was in an apartment complex.
Uh-huh. Yeah, but I mean that was the
Yeah.
I don't know where that was. That had not figured at all in my I didn't know that place.
Well,
really-
if you ever looked at a map of Washington DC, there's a circle of interstate around
Okay. Yeah.
in Alexandria, Virginia. Well, it's about 20 miles south of Alexandria, Virginia.
Okay. And that was for like training and stuff that you guys were there?
Well, I initially went there to attend what was called the Engineer Advanced Officer School because had my overseas assignments. I'd been to Vietnam,
Mhm.
And so they assigned me there and said, well, when there's an opening, I can go to the career course.
Mhm.
And then after the career course, I worked at the desk per the officer's assignments desk at the personnel installation personnel office.
So then you and mom met and you dated, and then like a week later you got married, or like what did you, you know?
Well, I was engaged to one of the nurses from the hospital, who was also a good friend of their mom's. And I don't know. Anyway, we never really gelled that much. I thought a lot of her, but I wasn't sure she was fully committed, so she finally decided to break the engagement. But your mom was living in the same apartment complex, so they had already been visiting. So it was very convenient.
Mhm. But you didn't have like any family at your wedding or anything, did you?
Sure.
Oh,
Mom
okay.
showed up, and
Okay.
Fern Melby came with mother.
Mhm.
They had flown into DC, Reagan Airport. Wasn't Reagan, at Washington National Airport. And the Pfluger family was there.
Okay. Fern Melby was a neighbor or a relative?
She was my cousin,
Oh,
but she was about 5 years younger than mother.
okay. Okay. And so then not long after that, you guys went to Thailand, and that's where you were both in Thailand, but in different places.
Right.
And then at some point you found out that you were going to have a baby.
Yeah. Well, I was with the 538th Engineer Battalion, and we were building main supply route. We were paving the mountain section from Karat to Sadahip.
Mhm.
And they had civilian contractors on the north end where the Karat part was,
Mhm.
and civilian contractors on the south end, and they'd used another engineer battalion called the 809th through this real swampy area in the south. But we had the mountain area, and I was responsible for having the paving crew working and do the what we called maintenance on the major maintenance. We could exchange engines on engineer equipment and do. We didn't ever break an engine down, but when a bulldozer would stop working, we'd pull it in the shop. And so I had both the equipment support and the maintenance part of it.
Uh-huh. So,
And
yeah.
we were there 18 months, and 3 months I was the adjutant, and then I was assigned to A company for this paving operation. And then the last 3 months I was back at the adjutant's office, personnel desk.
Mhm. Do you remember finding out that you were that mom was pregnant? Like you must not have been together when she found out she was
Well,
pregnant.
they had, there was a national holiday when President Eisenhower passed away. And so we had a 3-day holiday. And it was shortly after that she declared that you were en route.
Uh-huh.
But we knew she was pregnant before we left Thailand.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that she was pregnant in Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you went to Rapid City, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you were born on New Year's Eve.
I was born on Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve, yeah.
I mean, it's close though. It
Yeah.
was some kind of Eve, and you didn't go to have a party that night, probably.
Yeah. Well, I had a lot of friends that stopped by the house. I just wasn't there.
Oh gosh. And you got Ranger though, like a couple weeks before I was born, right?
I'm not sure when we got him. I know that I think he was around there before you were born, but I don't remember exactly when.
Okay. But he was still a puppy. I mean, the pictures of me when I'm a baby, he's still like an awkward like puppy. He's not a
Probably
big
so, yeah.
grown-up dog. Yeah.
But I had a parka winter parka.
Mhm.
And we laid that in front of the glass doors that faced off to the west. And he could be in the house as long as he stayed on that parka.
Because otherwise it was cold, wasn't it?
Well, if he didn't stay on the parka, we'd have dog hair all over the house.
Oh, yeah, I suppose, huh? Yeah.
You got that, dear?
I do.
Okay.
Stevens.
So what, do you remember like thinking like, oh, we should get a dog? Like what had you get a dog right before you had a baby? What were you thinking? I mean, it worked out fine as far as I'm concerned, but I don't know that that's usually something people do.
Well, my brother-in-law always had a dog, and so it was just kind of natural to. I was finally in a situation where we could have a pet,
Yeah.
and I don't even know where we got him, and if we had to buy him or he didn't come from the pound,
Mhm.
but we had a backyard, had
Yeah.
a house, so it was a good time to have a dog.
Yep. But no, Roger's always been he was always a lab guy. Like he always had labs. But was that later in life he got into labs?
Yeah, right. He had shepherds early on.
Okay. Why did your dad like shepherds? What was there did his like family own them or like where did the German Shepherd become the
I
dog?
don't know. I remember when I was growing up on the farm that we had one,
Yeah.
but I don't know why. I think it was just available.
Mhm.
Somebody probably gave it to us, but I had no idea where it came from.
Yeah. Well, because grandma she wasn't like an animal person, right? She
No,
never had a pet the whole time I was alive.
no.
Yeah.
Well, on the farm, all the animals were outside.
Yeah.
You had a dog house and you kept straw in there for the dogs, and
Right.
they ate the leftovers from the table.
Yeah.
That was their dog food.
Yep. My, how times have changed, huh?
Yes, yeah.
Although I know that there are still farms and farm animals, but yeah, most people don't just keep their dogs outside and feed them table scraps. Okay. I don't have any other questions written down. Is there anything that like pops up like, oh yeah, what about this? I know you can tell me about when I was born because I wasn't really there to notice anything. So then
Well,
you moved back to Rapid City.
yeah, I
You
went to
had
work.
the house.
So we sent Renee to the hospital. I went to work the next day. But after work, I went out to the hospital. And I think it was about 6 o'clock or 5:30 or somewhere in there
Yeah.
when you were born. And then I went home and took care of the house. Now, what I was going to remember is the Boyd Goodtime Days was a celebration, the community celebration.
Mhm.
Well, when we still lived on the farm, and I don't know what age, but it's like 4 or 5. Well, anyway, the Good Time Days were always on my birthday. And so to go into town and ride the Ferris wheel was a big deal.
Mhm.
And I think it was about 6 years old when we were going into town. I was going to ride the Ferris wheel, not the Ferris wheel. Is it the Ferris? Not Ferris wheel. The
Carousel.
carousel. Yeah, yeah. Ride the horses on the carousel.
Mhm.
And I realized that, gee, I've kind of outgrown this.
Oh,
But our community, well, a lot of communities are similar, but they'd hire a company to come in and they'd have all the Ferris wheel and tilt-a-whirls and merry-go-rounds and all that kind of stuff. And then the local businesses would set up food stands out in the street.
Mhm.
And then the city hall on Saturday night would always have a dance. And about 2, 3 restaurants, I guess. 2 of them taverns. Anyway, we had a beer garden in the back of the restaurant that was built. And then we also had a food stand out in the front. and I think I was about 8 years old, and I could have been 9, but it was in the middle of the afternoon, and Dad had to go do something. He says, "Here, you take care of it." And so I was manager of the food stand, making change, cooking food, doing the whole schmear.
Uh-huh.
When you look around at your 9-year-olds today,
Yeah.
how many could handle that? I didn't have a lot of business. I did have one of the carnies that came and ordered a hamburger, and he said, "That's so good, I want another one." So,
Uh-huh. So you had to cook it and everything. Like there was nobody there?
right,
That's weird.
yeah. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
turned on the fire and
Yeah.
had a grill,
Uh-huh.
gas operated grill. And I also, I was probably 16 at the time, so it was after Dad had passed, maybe 15.
Mhm.
But in the afternoons on Saturdays, they'd have street events. And one of them was a slow bicycle race to see who could stay up the longest.
Yeah.
And I won the race, and all my friends were mad at me because they said, "Oh, you let the air out of the tires." So, which
Did
I
you?
hadn't.
Uh-huh.
No. But anyway, I still won.
Yeah.
Didn't
So
care
that
what
was
the-
good time days that they had
Yeah,
that also?
yeah. So you wiggled your
Yeah.
bike and
Uh-huh.
balanced basically standing still.
So I mean that must have been a pretty big deal though, because that was like the one time that
Yeah,
happened per year.
Once
And
a year, yeah.
yeah. That's
And
fun.
draw crowds from all over,
Yeah.
particularly after the sun went down.
Uh-huh. But you were too young, right? Or no,
Yeah.
that happened throughout your whole time there.
Well, it happened, yeah, every year that we lived in Boyd. Yeah.
Mhm. I think I even I remember hearing about it. Maybe we even did they do it like recent, like in the last 30 years?
Yeah, they have had Boyd Good Time Days. I think, well, they've stopped bringing a carnival in because there's not enough business.
Yeah.
The carnivals need too much money and they can't afford it.
Right.
So what they do is they just organize a parade, have ball games, softball teams, and they do some other events.
Like the reunion, all school reunion?
Well, something like that. We did that one year when we went back there for it.
Well, because I have a memory. Like, I remember being at Mary Ann's dad's house,
Yeah,
Grandpa Solting's house.
his trailer house.
Yeah, with all the yard animals.
Yeah, right.
Right. And I wonder if maybe that would have been like for Good Time Days or something, or maybe we just.
It was during the summertime.
Mhm.
It could have been during a Good Time Day, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Or it could have been at Christmas time too when
No, this was in the summer.
was it? Oh, okay.
I mean, I remember being there in winter too, but this was like, it was warm out in summertime. Let's see. So where is your dad buried even? Is he buried in the cemetery in Boyd or
Yes.
where? With who?
Well, if you think of where our house was, we were on the east end of town, if you will, where the school was. Well, the cemetery is all the way out on the west edge of town. It's the southwest corner of the town is the cemetery. And I've sent you the pictures of the tombstones for mother and dad. And dad's parents were there. And the Gilbertsons, which were my cousins.
Okay. From your dad's side?
Yeah,
Okay. So it must have been his sister then?
yeah, it was Gertie Stevens was her
Uh-huh.
name. And she lived with her, after her husband died, she moved in with her 2 bachelor brothers.
Mhm.
And they were farming, and that was Vernon Stevens' mother. I don't know if you remember Vernon Stevens was the principal of the a grade school in Dawson,
Okay.
and was well respected in the education community all through Minnesota.
Mhm. So do you remember, like, when Frank and Bessie were alive when you were born, right?
They may have been, but I don't
You just didn't
remember
have a
ever
very
seeing.
close relationship. I mean, do you remember them dying or anything, like going to their
No.
funeral or anything? What
No,
about your own dad? Do you remember his funeral at all?
well, certainly.
Was it a big event? I mean, Boyd was a small community, so people must have
Well,
really
it was
come
a
out
pretty
for
good
that.
sized event because we were well known in the community, and
Yeah.
he had all these, I mentioned, he was selling culverts. So there was a fair number of business associates that came to service.
Yeah.
Because of his young age, a lot of those people were uh, honoring the family.
Yeah. Did, like, because this, I would imagine too that this put Grandma Hazel in a pretty challenging position.
Yeah.
What, like, did people help out, or like, did you know what happened? Like, did you stay in your house, or like it must have been a huge upheaval?
Well, we stayed in the house. Mabel lived upstairs.
Okay, so you were
And-
paying rent to them anyway, and they just
Yeah,
made it work.
I didn't know how much rent we paid, but yeah, we lived downstairs, and mother worked in the grocery store, and then well, one of the things I guess I hadn't mentioned, but when I was 16, mother went and worked as a receptionist, maitre d' or whatever at Glacier National Park. And so I was,
In Montana?
yes.
Huh.
And so I was kind of a baby, well, watched over by Mabel and Eric at the time.
Yeah.
And then when she was coming home on the train, it came into Alexandria, Minnesota.
Mhm.
And we were supposed to go pick her up. Well, I didn't want to go by myself. So I got one of my classmates, Harry Richardson. Well, Harry was dating the principal's daughter. Well, they never said anything to me, but they got a little concerned about Harry because we were going all day and we went fishing
Ah.
on, Mille Lacs Lake, I guess.
That's funny.
Anyway, we had a good time.
Yeah. It makes me think of, like, you know, I don't know, even like Hummel figurines or like the Little Rascals where the boys just disappear, you know,
Yeah.
gone fishing, like nobody knows where they are. Because this is, of course, back before cell phones and, you know,
Well,
whatever.
I was also on my 16th birthday,
Uh-huh.
in Montevideo, the dance hall, they had a ballroom where they'd have good sized bands on Friday and Saturday night. Well, anyway, they had a teen dance on my birthday, not to celebrate my birthday, but it just happened that way.
Yeah.
And my cousin, Donnie Erickson, one of his friends, she made a cake, birthday cake for me and brought it out to the ballroom.
So it really was like they were celebrating your birthday.
Well, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
So that was kind of nice to think that somebody cared enough to.
Yeah. Well, and that
Mhm.
was when your mom was gone too, right?
Yep.
She was
Yeah,
gone in
right.
Glacier. Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the next year or the year after. She went down to White Bear Lake and did the same thing. But I may have been off in college at that time.
And it was just because she could make a lot more money of like
That
tourists.
was something she wanted to do, and so
Uh-huh.
she did it.
Huh.
I was the only thing holding her back, and so she
Yeah.
knew it was taken care of, so she left.
Well, and would she have called to say happy birthday? Like, did you guys have a telephone?
No,
Or,
no, I probably got a birthday card or something.
yeah. Yeah. Here I am in Glacier. Wish you were here.
Yeah.
Did she cook or something? Do you remember what she did?
Well, she was a dining room hostess.
Oh, okay.
You know, when people come into the dining room, somebody
Yeah,
greets
yeah.
them.
Let me give you a
and
table
feeds
and all
them.
that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Huh. She couldn't have even waited like 2 years till you graduated?
I have no idea. she probably needed a break.
I guess,
He was
yeah.
in line the only 2 years after Dad passed away. And
Yeah. Do you remember like money being really tight after that? Or maybe it was just always tight. So it
it
was,
was always tight.
yeah.
And can't say we ever had to go without, but you were always concerned about what you spent your money on.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I used to be very upset because when Dad was getting started in the culvert sales business, Alan Jelm had a motor scooter. Well, I thought I should have a scooter also. Well, I didn't have a scooter. And Dad finally found this motorbike that was in parts. And we tried to put that together and make it work. And for various reasons, it worked for a while and then it broke. And then I tried to fix it. And not being smart enough on mechanics at the time, I did some things that ruined it forever.
Oh, no.
But I was tearing this thing apart on my own without any other supervision.
Right. Because he was working all the time when he was there, right?
Well, this was after he passed away.
Oh, okay.
It was still in parts when he died.
Uh-huh. And nobody sort of stepped up to say like, you know, I mean, it seems like in a community that there would have been someone to say, you know, like, let me help you out, or, you know,
No.
people are too busy or just too much like minding everyone's own private space.
Well, I don't know. They're, they have their own things going on.
Yeah. And you had Maybell and Eric.
Yes.
And so I suppose that was, but Eric, was he just not like real handy, or?
Well, he was a janitor at the school
Uh-huh.
for many years. One of those years, Dad was on the school board, and the town criers were all upset because here Dad was on the school board, and sister's husband was a janitor, and all the corruption that was going on. Anyway, Dad was voted off the school board the next election, so that went away. But at 65, Eric had basically became, everyone knew it was time for him to retire.
Did he have dementia or something, or
No,
he just wasn't doing anything anymore?
yeah, just at 65, he had pretty
Yeah.
well slowed down.
Uh-huh. That's a long time to be a school janitor.
Yeah, well, he probably was a school janitor for 10, maybe 15 years.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And because I don't remember you mentioning, you know, the Mabel and Eric ever. And
Yeah,
it seems like, I mean, you lived with them. They must have been important,
basically, yes.
no? So like when did they die? Were they still around when I was born?
No. Mabel died when I was a sophomore in college.
Okay.
I had come home for the weekend,
Mhm.
and they said they had taken her to the hospital. And I said, well, I'll go see her tomorrow. Well, about 2:00 in the morning, they woke me up and said she had passed away. Eric died when we lived in Rapid City.
Uh-huh.
I guess, I don't know. Anyway, he was in Montevideo Hospital. He had prostate cancer, and they found him on the couch in the house. And
Yeah.
so they hadn't seen him playing cards, so they checked on him and were able to get him off to the hospital. I think Mother was already up at Sauk Center at the time, and maybe I came home on leave or something. Anyway, we went to the hospital, and Mother told him that I was there.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably should have said something, and I didn't. But he passed away that night then.
You didn't get to see him either?
Well, I saw him, but I didn't talk to him
Oh,
or give him any comfort. I just was there. But I
Yeah.
guess he'd been holding on until I arrived.
oh. I don't know if you're crying, but I'm crying. Anyway, let's talk about something that isn't about losing people you love. Tell me about when Jeff was born.
Well, let's see. The big deal when Jeff was born was the fact that the Lacey's also were awaiting a child by the name of Joanne. And so Greg and I had this bet that if I had a boy and he had a girl, I won the bet. And so I called him like 2 o'clock, maybe 4 o'clock in the morning and told him that Jeff had been born.
What do you remember what you won? I guess you just won having a son or something.
Yeah, I think I won a cigar or something.
Uh-huh. So Jeff was born in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Outside of that, it was pretty normal. I think mother came to help take care of you at the time. And
There's a picture of me, maybe this is Grandma Maxine though, but like I've got lipstick like all over, you know, I'm like in like a cute little probably nightgown. Doesn't look much like a dress, but it could have been, you know, and I've just like got lipstick everywhere.
somehow I remember that being a nightie.
Mm-hmm.
You'd gotten into your mother's lipstick, I believe.
Okay. I thought maybe that was a grandma thing, but look at my pretty lipstick.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh-huh. And so then you bring Jeff home from the hospital and everything's just honky-dory, right?
Yes, right.
2 kids, just so sweet. They're so cute.
2 kids and a dog, and
Uh-huh.
Then it was what, 71, 73, so it was 2 years later when we went back to Okinawa.
Uh-huh.
And so we got that process of selling a house, packing up, moving everybody,
Mm-hmm.
riding in airplanes all night long
Mm-hmm.
with 2 and 4-year-olds.
Mm-hmm. Having done that. And you know, and also too, I don't know about Jeff or I on a trip like that, but I know with R2, that Peter, he would be like, he wouldn't sleep. He just wouldn't sleep the whole trip. And then like about like, you know, when we would start to land, he would just lose it. He would just scream and cry and hit and, you know, kind of just lose it.
Well, actually, if I remember, you kids were pretty decent. I think we had some toys and we were kind of entertained most of the time.
Yeah. But then you went right into military housing. You didn't have to find a place to live or anything, right?
Yeah, I was trying to remember. If we stayed in a hotel for a while, I think we did, but I can't remember exactly because by that time, the island had gone through reversion, so now it was controlled by the Japanese, but it become a tourist location for the Japanese, so there was a lot of construction going on. And I think we wound up staying in this relatively new hotel at the time for probably a week or 2.
Okay. And Ranger too was in the hotel?
Well, no, I had gone back to Rapid City to get Dog, and we'd flown you people out to California. I drove the plane. And then we had flown back to Rapid City. And then I got the little yellow Mustang and a friend and Ranger. And we drove to Colorado and stayed with the Jones overnight. And Ranger ran away.
Oh, geez.
And so there wasn't much we could do. So I and the other guy went off to Las Vegas. And then I went on, he got off at Las Vegas, stayed there, and I went on with the Flugers And, oh, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 days, we had a phone call that these people had found the dog with his name tag. And so anyway, we got him shipped down to Los Angeles. And then we packed him up and shipped him to Okinawa.
Yikes.
But he had to be quarantined for like 2 weeks
Yeah.
in Okinawa. So we were in housing by the time we got Ranger out.
And I do remember that we had a maid named Famiko.
Yep.
And I remember that maybe Jeff and I went to her house.
Could be, I don't remember that.
Yeah, I remember being at a market with her too, but I remember also being in her house where everyone sat on tatami mats. Like I remember being there and just not really knowing like what to do, you know, but it was very different. And Famiko was her name, yeah. And then after that, after both trips or after the trip back, was Ranger so claustrophobic?
Well, he was afraid of thunderstorms.
Yeah.
And so he was shipped back to Fort Bragg. Let's see, we came back to Fort Bragg from Okinawa. Anyway, he was thunderstorms scared the living daylights out of him. So
Yeah.
he did strange things like eating the door.
Yeah. I
garage
remember
door
like
and
scratching through the metal.
Yeah.
You had covered up a hole in the door in the garage. Yeah.
And he had dog bites on the door handle going into the kitchen, trying to open the door.
Oh, baby.
I'm trying to think, I think he had actually ran away for a short period of time when we found him.
I mean, I remember him running away. I remember
Yeah.
that he would do that. He would get out and he would run away. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I remember that I drew on the wall with crayon, I think.
Probably.
It seems like Okinawa, but I don't know that that's true. And I remember that also that you guys would play this the record from the Sting. And I would do like a dance, like
Oh,
a
really?
flapper kind of dance with like I would do my arms back and like they did, like the flappers kind of did. I mean, I don't know if I saw it, like, was there a movie on TV or something? I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah. And just the other night, Sam, I think it was Sam, was saying, sing that song about the doggy in the window, Mama. And I'm like, oh yeah, from Grandma Hazel. You know, how much is that doggy in the window? And then he was like, and then the Eskimo one too. The bear skin. The Eskimo sleeps in his bear skin. He sleeps very well, I am told. Last night I slept in my bear skin and I caught a heck of a cold.
Oh,
Didn't she ever sing that to you?
no.
Sing it to me. That's funny. So because Grandpa John was the only grandpa that I knew.
Right.
They must have gotten married before I was born or sometime when I was really little.
No, before you were born.
Okay. And then he lived in Sauk Center. Or did she move to Sauk Center before then and they met in Sauk Center?
Well, Mother was working in Montevideo as a loan officer, manager of the loan office. And he was in Wood Lake and he had a hardware store.
Mm-hmm.
And he applied for this job as a weed inspector and was hired and was assigned to, he may have been assigned initially somewhere else, but ultimately to Sauk Center. So they moved there. And that's really, when we came back from Thailand, they were already there in Sauk Center. And in our, I don't know which night it was, but it was there when the moon landing occurred. And I was trying to take pictures off the TV of the moon landing.
I was I alive then?
No.
It was right before I was born, right?
Yep.
Okay, like early December or something
Yeah.
of '69. Yep.
So anyway,
What else? What else? Anyway, I'm kind of tapped out of questions too for today. I'm
Yeah,
sure
okay.
I just need to write them down or else I forget.
Well, we've been going for an hour and 20 minutes. So.
Good. Okay, we're just about at our limit then too.
Okay,
Okay, you take care.
will do.
Love you. Bye-bye.